I am so grateful and filled with love for this beautiful human being that is about to share with you. Sam has dedicated her life to the arts and how it can impact us in multiple ways, and has found this incredible intersection between her spirituality, and she too is an Episcopal, so wine later, yes. The intersection of spirituality and theater combined in the concept of story. And I want to share a brief anecdote to help with what I love what Sam does. Most of you are aware that I was the executive director at Red Mountain Theater. Have you seen the Holiday Spectacular? Raise your hands if you have. Okay, I hate you if you haven't. Or what an opportunity you have in the future. But because we're very inclusive at Red Mountain Theater, when we begin to discuss what we do in a 20-minute section called Take a Walk Through Bethlehem, we used to have live camels and a donkey and sheep, okay? I would say to the children, I always get their attention. Hey guys, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Sound good? The Bible. And I would say, it doesn't matter what we believe. It matters that this is the most widely published book of great stories that has ever been written. So no matter what denomination you are, in this next 20 minutes of our theater production, we're going to tell the story of miracles. And it's always a beautiful way to just wrap our arms around the entire community of our cast that will tell the story that come from multiple different faiths. I share that because what Sam does, and you'll see this today, is she allows us to imagine what might be between the lines of anything that is written, even if it's biblical. And that happened to mostly, they say, been written by men. And so it might be nice to have a woman's perspective in between each line. Just saying. So, without further ado, my beloved friend, Sam Gilliam.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't like being up here. May I please come down off this pedestal? Thank you. I do appreciate the notion of putting me up on a pedestal. You've seen many depictions, haven't you? But my humanity is actually more important to me. And I want to be close to you. So good morning, and thank you for inviting me to visit here today and to share part of my story with you that perhaps you haven't heard yet. I have always wondered about something. Do you think he was a perfect child? Jesus. Howling into the world, howling from out my womb, ravenously hungry for life. I prayed the angels to calm my racing heart. And they did, along with the stable beasts, I might add, all of them hovering around us there, shuffling up close, squeezing in, didn't want to miss anything, I suppose. Their bodies warmed us, and their gentle rhythms, their gentle breathing gave me such comfort on the night of his birth. It's a lovely story, isn't it? We love to hear it. Every year we long to hear it. We need that story. Can't get enough of it. Yet I will confess to you one thing you may not have heard before. In the midst of my heavy labor that night in the stable, the idea, the thought did cross my mind. Whoever thought this was going to be a good idea? What have I gotten myself into? I had no idea how to be a mother. I was barely a woman. And I was so scared. But I had said yes. I had said yes to God's invitation, and I would see it through. Now, at this point, I do feel compelled to underscore a detail of Gabriel's visit to me that I think might have been lost somewhere along the way. If you remember the Annunciation, as you call it, when the angel Gabriel in his great golden wings visited me, Gabriel waited for my reply, suspended on golden wings. He waited until I replied, and you know that there is the famous thy will be done. I have to remember that from time to time. The point that I want to make is that Gabriel waited for my reply because his mission required my consent. I had a choice. I was not being commanded into submission. I was being invited into partnership with God. And there is a profound difference between those two ideas. And so he was born, just like yours. And he grew, just like yours. I'll tell you something, the first word out of his mouth was not mama. No, the first word out of his mouth was, why? Jesu, 'tis almost Sabbath. We must go inside. Why? Because it is our tradition. You know that. Come with Mom. Why? Because it is the law. And 'tis almost sundown. We must go in now. Why? Jesu. Now, inside. Why? Because I say so. That's why. Why? Jesus, please. Mama is tired. Why? You think he was the perfect child? He was. He was perfectly extraordinary and perfectly exasperating, all at the same time. Just like yours. Just like yours. Oh, the memories start flooding in. Quiet moments of glimpses of honey, like kissing the back of his neck, where his hair curls in tiny ringlets, the smell of earth on his skin, and little boy sweat. He turns around to me. Mama, he says. Mama, can you teach me to pray? What was that, Jesus? Mama, how do I pray? Can you teach me? What do I say? He is very insistent. Well, yes, I can. I can teach you to pray. I say, how do we begin? He says, very serious. I say, well, Jesus. Yesu, praying is like talking to your fig tree, or to the breeze, or to your father. Papa? Yes. And your divine Father, Abba, who lives in heaven. Shall we begin that way? Oh, yes, he says. So eager, so earnest. And so we begin. Dear Abba, who lives in heaven, oh, how holy is your name. Mama, he says, where is heaven? I say, well, Jesu, heaven is all around us. It's just that we have to try very hard to see it. And he closes his eyes. And he says, I feel it. Oh, I can see it, Mama. I can see heaven. And I know that he does. Now, Jesu, let us pray. Give us today the bread we eat, dearest Abba. I like bread with pomegranate jelly. Yes, I know that you do. And Jesu, let us ask Abba to help us to forgive those who are mean to us. Mama, that's hard. Do we have to? Yes. Jesu, it is only as we forgive others that we might be forgiven. Do you understand? That's hard. Yes, it is. And it gets harder, I think to myself. So we must pray. Forgive us, dearest Abba, as we forgive others. And he puts his little hands together. And we begin again from the beginning. Dear Abba, who lives in heaven. Oh, what a wonder he was. Just like yours. Just like yours. And in those rare, very rare moments when they are finally quiet and in peaceful slumber, now there is heaven on earth. He grew up so quickly, you see. One day I'm kissing his chubby little face, and before I know it, a young man is standing before me, tall and strong and so gentle, and still asking why. Because I need you here, Jesu. I need you here. This is your home. Nazareth is our home. Don't go. Don't go, Jesu. Because your ideas are too radical. And the world is a dangerous place for prophets. Because I am your mother. Stay here. Ask questions here. Dream here. Change the world here. Don't go. You know how the story ends. Every year you mark the days and the weeks in rituals, in prayers, in fasting and reflection. You mark the end of the story in its darkest hours until the dawn of a new morning that none of us saw coming. You know the ending to this story, but you forget that I did not. None of us did. None of us knew the ending. I didn't know the ending to this story, my story, any more than you know the ending to yours. I wasn't sure of anything. Just putting one foot in front of the other, trying to make it through another day. Just like you. Just like you. And just like you, I know well the landscape of loss. I know well, as you do, the landscape of loss at the hands of violence. You have lived the valleys of darkness yourselves. You have navigated the raging storms of grief. And the only thing to do is to go through it. Blessed are the poor in spirit, he said, my son. Blessed are the meek, the merciful. Blessed are the peacemakers, he said. He learned these things from his papa, Joseph. You don't hear much about Joseph, do you? Well, let me tell you something. God inspired Joseph with uncommon ideas. Give the other cheek to your enemy. Love those who do not love you back. Oh, Joseph taught his son well. You, fathers, here today, this is your day. You fathers here, is this what you teach your children? To love those who do not love you back? What are they learning from your example? Love your neighbors as yourself. We all know that. Do you love your neighbor as yourself? Will they, your children, will you be the reason they choose love? This was his dream. And here is my lamentation. Have we lost the art of tenderness? Have we lost the art of kindness? The practice of peacemaking? Where has it gone? All of creation cries out, and I wonder if his dream, if God's dream, will ever come true. You good, faithful pilgrims here today, tell me that it will. Tell me that it is possible. The work is hard. I know. I know that. Forgiving is hard. I know that too. Extending your hand is hard. An open hand, not a fist clenched against those whom you judge. Not a fist clenched against those whose existence makes you snarl. An open hand, not a clenched fist, against those who struggle for a sliver of the slightest chance for a fraction of the life you have. The work is very hard, and you are called to do it. You want easy? I cannot help you. My son never promised it would be easy. So work together. Let us work together, working with hands reaching together. A new courage rising, perhaps. A new reason to sing at the rising sun. And if there can be singing, then perhaps my lamentation will become lullaby. And you are with me there in the stable, in that story we so love, in that story of light and promise we so love. Can you see it? Can you see the stable? Try. Can you feel the golden light there, the warmth of it? Can you? And you are there with me, singing to him, his face shining. This holy child, come for you, come for me, come for all the world. Can you see it? And can you remember why he came? He chose love. Can you? Remembering what he chose will help you on this journey. And remembering will help you and all of us to sing this present darkness into dawn.
Sam would love she's open to taking a few questions if you'd like to ask. And icebreakers are always good in this moment because everyone's like, I don't know who will go first. I will. So on the way here, Sam and I, we talked about why do you hold the manuscript, and she shared something that a great mentor gave her as she began her journey to create these characters and present them.
Well, I am a trained stage actor, and so in the very beginning, I had the concept that, well, I need to memorize and perform the character. And one of my mentors suggested to me that in using a small manuscript, it becomes less about me as a performer and more about the story. I am presenting and sharing with you a story. And with the biblical characters, many of the stories that I present are women from the Bible, and some of them quite famous that we feel that we know well, and some that we don't know at all. But when it's biblical scripture particularly, I think it feels more respectful, perhaps, to allow the audience to see that I am presenting a story and not a performance, even though there's a fine line. Does that answer the question?
Beautiful. Yes. Any other questions?
Comments or questions? Yes.
Since you talk about women in the stories, women in the stories with these characters, have you always focused on the Marys, or maybe you ever done one on Bathsheba or some of these other reputable women that's been in
Okay. Tom is suggesting or asking the less reputable women of the Bible. Do you ever, Bathsheba or who are some others? Well, actually, Delilah. It's always about sex, isn't it? Well, quite frankly, yes. And one of my favorite stories I was able to share yesterday about the Samaritan woman at the well, that harlot, wanton woman who's had 5 husbands and now she lives. And I seek to suggest another point of view. Yes. Yes. Thank you for that comment, though. I'll look into Delilah. Anybody else? Any image that stands out to you from the story? An image that perhaps you hadn't thought of, maybe? About Jesus as a little boy? Yes.
Something about Jesus as a little boy because Mary saying, I didn't know you. And I'm thinking how really her Jesus. That was so powerful. Think about it.
Yes. And to think of so many young women today who feel that they do not have a choice.
Can you repeat that?
Oh, the question or the comment was how the idea that Mary said yes to God in spite of her trepidation, but that also she had a choice. Does that?
Well, and that, and just, she didn't know the end.
Oh, and yes, and this is something that I try to weave into many of my stories, and that is that Mary didn't know the ending. She didn't know that, she didn't know, she was human. We are humans, and that's what I think I do try to convey is the humanity of biblical characters who we have placed up on these pedestals up high, and they've gotten further and further and further away from our everyday lives. We hold them in such high esteem, and we should. However, we have to also recognize the fact that how can we identify with these characters, these ancient biblical people, if they don't seem human, and if they don't have messiness and doubt and uncertainty? And I don't think any of these, anybody, I don't think any of the disciples, I don't think Mary, I don't think anyone knew how this would end. And we can assume, and because it happened so long ago and these stories are so precious to us, that, well, they knew everything was going to turn out okay. No, we didn't. We did not. And there is a particular story that I shared last Good Friday. And I portrayed Mary Magdalene in that pocket of time that we perhaps don't much think about. I never did until I realized, oh, let me dig into that. After the crucifixion, what was it like for the disciples and the followers in that time following the body being sealed in a tomb? What was that Friday night like in the house where they were hiding, the safe house? What was Saturday? That had to have been the longest day ever. And the loathing that these men, his disciples who had fled, self-incriminate, just the darkest days of the soul for these people. And so Mary takes us into those, what if we know what happened between Friday night and then early on Sunday morning. That's a time period that I find fascinating because we don't know. So artistic license is invited. It's an invitation. I think it's an invitation. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your focus on Jesus' humanity. When you said, just like yours, it took me immediately back to all the frustrating afternoons I used to have with my four, and then my identification with Mary was so much tighter. But I believe that we set this obstacle when we do set Jesus so high on a pedestal. We lose that intimacy that we were meant to embrace.
Yes.
And there's this huge chasm for so many people between who Christ was meant to be and who they see him as. So
Yes.
thank you so much for that.
Yes. Did you hear the comment? It was lovely. Yes. I imagine Jesus growing up, we it's still the biggest mystery, I think, is the fully human, fully divine nature of Jesus of Nazareth. The man who was a radical and who died a violent, agonizing death. And then was born from the womb again, the tomb. Christ became fully the Christ spirit. At least, I wrestle with those particulars. Yes.
Your comments about Joseph and his impact and how as a father on this Father's Day.
Okay, let me talk about that.
Yeah.
No, this was my first opportunity, and it was because there's a silver lining and everything.
Repeat the question.
The question was about Joseph and his impact as a father. And originally, I was supposed to come and visit you all in March for Lent. So this story today would not have included Joseph. I reshaped it a bit because it's Father's Day. It's all about you, isn't it? It's always about guys. So what do we know about Joseph? Not a whole lot. And I like to imagine that he was odd. He had unconventional ideas. I imagine that Joseph was incredibly gentle and compassionate. And in his, everyday little day chats and conversations while they're, maybe working with the wood or doing carpentry things, and little Jesus is with his dad, with his papa, Joseph. I imagine these incredible ideas that became part of the mission of Jesus as an adult had to have come from, of course, inspired by God, but through human connection. And so it was a great gift, actually, when we settled on this June date, and Mary B. reminded me, I wish she was here, but she's recovering from her foot surgery. Anyway, Mary B. said, now Sam, you're going to be presenting the story of Mother Mary on Sunday, which happens to be Father's Day. You might want to work something like that into your story. Okay. That's a whole new kettle of fish, whatever. So it was a joy. And I think I will do more with Joseph. What the heck? Why not?
And come back and talk to us.
And I'll come back and talk to you about what I have found. Yeah. I think Joseph had a crush on Mary until the day he died. I just think he adored her. Anyway, enough of that. Any other images or comments or questions? Yes.
Piggyback on something you were referring to earlier, I really appreciate your emphasizing Jesus as continually asking for his whole childhood. I mean, I feel like we as Christians are always asking first beings, are always asking why do we beings?
Yes.
Instead of, I think that just flows into that's what faith is. I mean, we don't believe, and some people think they do.
the comment is, thank you for emphasizing that Jesus said, why? Why? As a little child. Now that inspiration came to me because of Keith's godson, Hunter. Hunter's an adult now, but I met Hunter when he was 4 years old. And Hunter said, why? 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 All the time. And I remember when I met Hunter, I was thinking, I'm going to use that. That's material. I don't know where, but it's So the why, yes. He was constantly asking questions. And I was born and raised Catholic, getting over it, but I remember being taught, don't you dare question Holy Scripture. Don't you dare question what you're being taught. Literally. Who are you to ask a question? Well, I'm a child of God. I want to know God. So ask questions. Teach your children as much as it bugs them, to ask questions. If you have an inquisitive child, give thanks in the midst of your misery. So yes, ask why. Now there was something else that I remember once years ago in a sermon, and I know that we remember every word, every sermon. I know that John was looking at me. A lot of times we don't remember the details of a sermon, but we might remember one kernel of gold that resonates with us. And I remember once, many years ago, I can't give you the context or what else was in the sermon, but our rector said, doubt is not the opposite of faith. Certainty is the opposite of faith. I'd never heard that. So doubt is a part of being faithful. It's almost a responsibility for us to question and to wonder and to not become so fixed in certainty, because what happens then is the heart can harden and there's no opening for discovery or for a new understanding, a different, that's an interesting point of view. I never thought about that. That opening starts to get very small. So that's what I want to say about that. Thank you so much. Anybody? I cannot, we have a question or a comment?
So I've never thought much about the idea that Mary could have said no. And it seems, the way you put it, it seems obvious. Otherwise it would be forced and that's the whole thing can't work. But you talk more about just the idea that Mary could have said no, but it's like thinking about Jesus saying no. I never thought, I guess when I was younger, I never thought Jesus really could have said no to dying on the cross. But I guess he didn't have a choice. You just talk more about Mary
And the could I talk a little bit more about Mary and the choice that she was given in the Annunciation, that it was not a command, this will happen to you. Whether you want it or not, it's going to happen. In the story of the Annunciation, the angel waited for her reply. And again, that's a pocket of time. How long did it take? What was going through her head and her heart? What was she considering? Was she looking at the possibility of a future that she had no idea how it would, what were all of the things that must have been going through her mind? And the beauty for me of that moment, which is particularly striking in the times that we find ourselves in today is that I do believe we have a God of consent, a God who invites far more often than a God who commands, a God who invites us into participation. And so that's why I wanted to kind of focus on that we are invited into partnership. We are never commanded into submission, ever. Ever. At least, we may, well, now the Irish nuns in my Catholic command, but as I grew older, I started to realize, oh wait, no, that's not the God that I am drawn to. The God of you will do this. And I can remember, all right, I'm getting off topic, and it's probably wrong. I can remember as a young girl in Catholic school going to Mass, and during the week when the Passion narrative is read, that gospel takes forever. And for a third grader, we were meant to stand during the reading of the Passion. And Mother Mary Cecilia would say, now don't you move a muscle. I'll be watching you. No moving. You stand perfectly still. You may earn an indulgence or something, but we don't move. And I'm telling you, one time, Mother Mary Cecilia said to me, and I was in the third grade at the time. No, that was different. That wasn't Mother, it was Sister Brendan. Doesn't matter. Third grade. Sister Brendan said to me, Susan Carter. I was baptized Susan Carter, my maiden name. Susan Carter. I'm going to annihilate you if you do that one more time. I had no idea what that word meant, annihilate. So when I got home from school, I asked my brother David, who was in the 7th grade at the time, and he knew everything. And I said, David, and I told him, what does annihilate mean? He said, annihilate? Well, she's not just going to kill you. She's going to destroy you. You will not even be present on the earth. I mean, my brother went into this huge, dramatic, as he was wont to be, definition of annihilation. So you better believe I went back into that classroom, scared to death of those Irish nuns. God loved them, but hey, they were tough. They were tough. All right. I cannot tell you what a pleasure, what a joy, what an honor it has been to visit you today. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Scheduled and rescheduled, and for all of you to come on a summer Sunday morning.
Am I still on?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I was supposed to come in on Thursday. And the flight was canceled because of storms in San Antonio, where my home is, in Texas. And the thought did cross my mind, are you trying to tell us that this is just not supposed to happen? Is there something we're not getting? But I got it.
Boy, are we glad it did.
Yeah. Thank you so much.